Heartwarming call reveals billionaire dad inspiring journey of a girl abandoned, uncovering life. Lily's heart raced as she took the diner's phone off the hook. The familiar sound of sizzling bacon and the heavy aroma of fresh coffee filled the air, but today felt different. The voice that greeted her was unfamiliar, rich and smooth, like sweet honey poured over the fire. "Is this Lily?" the man asked. Her breath caught, and a whirlwind of emotions collided within her. It was him. Her father, the one she craved for all those years, the billionaire she never knew. She stumbled back, nearly tripping over a stack of menus on the floor. Her heart pounded as the realities of her life churned around her like leaves in a storm. All her life, she had been raised by a resilient single mother, a veteran with her own battles to fight, who served pancakes and hope to the townsfolk in their little diner. The pain of abandonment from a father who left when she was just a toddler constantly gnawed at her, even when she masked it with laughter and tears shared with her mom. How did you get my number?" Lily whispered, clutching the receiver like a lifeline, her knuckles turning white. The call felt electric, shaking her world in ways she never anticipated. The sudden knowledge of her father's wealth stung. She had spent her whole life feeling the weight of poverty, navigating judgmental glances as they walked through town. She had never wanted to connect with a man who was more of a shadow than a figure in her life, but the yearning to understand him was unbearable. With every passing second, memories of broken homes and late-night tears flooded back. The paycheck-to-paycheck struggle was tangible. Would this new side of her life make her mother proud or shatter the little world they built together? Lily glanced at her mother, busy serving pie, and she felt the heaviness of loyalty settle over her like a heavy coat. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The voice on the other end continued, mentioning charity events and community service, and as Lily listened, her heart felt fluttery, a mix of thrill and dread. Did he even think about her? Did he recognize that she was more than just a random name lost in the trails of his wealth? A reunion loomed in the distance like a thunderstorm on a bright day. As she stood there, her mind raced to the upcoming charity event at his grand estate, a world where chandeliers glitter and people wear faces of perfection. She felt the clash of hope and uncertainty rage inside her, as she was caught between two identities, the girl who wanted a father and the one rooted to her mother's side. When the day of the event arrived, she felt the weight of the world, struggling to find her place. It was meant to be a fresh start, but deep down, she knew she had to face her ghosts. The stage was set, and the air was charged. Could she do this? Could she reconcile with the man who had been absent all her life? Now, the real question lingered in her heart: would meeting him bring her closer to a part of herself she had long abandoned, or would it tear her apart? The answer hung in the air, leaving a bittersweet taste of anticipation as she prepared to walk into a world she barely knew, but desperately wanted to understand. As the day of the charity event approached, Lily stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the delicate straps of her dress. The soft fabric felt unfamiliar against her skin, but she tried to breathe through the jitters knotting her stomach. As a girl who had grown up in hand-me-downs, the elegance of this dress reminded her how far away she was from her usual world of grease-stained aprons and pancake batter. She was stepping into a life she had only dreamt of, a life where her father lived. "Are you ready?" her mother called from the living room. Lily hesitated, casting one last glance at herself. The young girl who had once dreamed of being seen had transformed, not just in appearance, but in aspiration. "Yeah, Mom. Just a minute." Downstairs, her mother was an image of strength with the years etched on her face. "You look beautiful, Lily," she said, giving her a reassuring smile. But Lily saw the worry behind her eyes, the same concern that had always hovered around their small life. Do you think he like me?" The question slipped from her lips before she could stop it, her mother's smile flickered for a heartbeat. "Honey, you are impossible not to like. Just be yourself." With that, they were off, her mother's aging car a far cry from the luxurious vehicles she imagined would be at the estate. More than once, Lily felt her palms sweat, the reality of what she was walking into sending anxious ripples through her. The estate loomed ahead as they pulled into the driveway, a grand manor that could only be described as a fairy tale. But fairy tales sometimes come with hidden thorns. As they stepped through the sprawling entrance, swirls of laughter and chatter washed over them like a tidal wave. Waiters in crisp uniforms flitted about, serving drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and the air was thick with the scent of rich foods and flowers. Lily felt small, her heart pounding as she took in the polished marble, the shimmering crystal chandeliers. This was not the world she was used to, and it felt as though everyone was looking. She wanted to disappear into the patterned wallpaper. "Stay close to me," her mother whispered as they ventured a little further in. Suddenly, she felt the gentle brush of a hand. "Lily?" The smooth, baritone voice that had haunted her dreams was now resonating right in front of her. She turned, locking eyes with a man whose face she had only seen in old photographs and distant memories. A tall figure, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, he looked every bit the billionaire. "Dad," the word felt strange on her tongue, but it sent shivers down her spine. His expression flickered a mix of surprise and something else, something unnameable. "It's finally nice to meet you." The warm smile didn't reach his eyes, and she sensed an awkward tension that danced between them like smoke. Motioning her parents into a more private area, he beckoned them towards a quieter corner, away from the prying eyes. Each step felt monumental, Lily's heart racing faster as the weight of the moment settled in. "I'm glad you could make it," he began, but was quickly interrupted by an approaching woman, equally polished and poised, introducing herself as his assistant. As they conversed, Lily felt the warmth from her father slip away, leaving her standing on the sidelines, a forgotten player in a game she didn't even know how to play. Trying to push down the disappointment bubbling up inside, she felt her mother squeeze her hand, a gesture that assured her she was not alone in this world of unfamiliarity. Why had she envisioned a loving embrace, only to confront this cold facade? Just as the moment felt unbearably heavy, the crowd erupted in applause, drawing everyone's attention to the stage. Lily turned to see her father stepping forward, preparing to speak. And there it was, the unknown that loomed over her like a dark cloud. Would his words reveal the man she'd always longed for, or silence the echo of hope once more? For the first time, her heart raced not from excitement, but from fear. As Lily stood among the glistening lights, she realized she was on the brink of a revelation that could change everything. Would this night illuminate the shadows of her past, or would it deepen them? Uncertainty hung in the air, leaving her wondering what would happen next. The applause faded as her father took his place at the podium, the microphone adjusting to accommodate his towering frame. Lily's breath hitched in her throat. She was both desperate to hear his words and terrified of what they might hold. Could he reveal a part of himself she had only imagined? "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice rich and confident. "Tonight, we are gathering not just to raise money but to uplift lives in our community." He gestured widely, the glimmering chandeliers reflecting the confidence in his stance, yet to Lily, it felt as if an ocean of distance separated them. Her mother shifted beside her, and Lily caught a glimpse of uncertainty in her eyes. The worry danced across her form, amplifying the tension in the air. Lily squeezed her mom's hand tighter, searching for an anchor in the whirlwind of emotion. "I know that many of you have come from various backgrounds," he continued. "Some, like myself, had families who supported us through every trial. Others were not so fortunate. Those of you in here," Lily's heart sank further, "who found yourselves in tough situations, remember, there's always hope." The words dripped like honey, but the sting felt sharp when they were directed toward her, a reminder of her own path. She wanted to yell out, to scream that she was one of those lost souls. Hope, she thought bitterly. Hope felt elusive when standing in the shadow of this man whose life was untouched by the struggles she faced. The applause erupted again as he paused, allowing the energy of the room to swell. Lily's eyes darted around, assessing the crowd. The audience looked captivated, hanging on every word he uttered, and yet here she stood unsure if she belonged in this glittering world or if she was merely a ghost haunting its edges. Helping the youth find paths to success is crucial, he said with fervor, and Lily felt her heart tug a little. Just beneath the facade, he spoke as if he wanted to help people, to do good. Yet she remained anchored to the lecture previous. The speech went on, touching on his dreams of philanthropy, his passion for improving lives in their town. As she listened, she found herself wavering between admiration and resentment. He felt so distant, yet so near. A father they painted in a picture frame but never actually held in their hearts. Clutching her mother's hand, she felt fatigue wash over her. One moment she wanted to rush to him, wrap her arms around his waist and call him Dad, but with every passing second, she was trapped by resentment and disappointment, the lingering coldness almost suffocating. Finally, the applause cut through her thoughts again, and as the crowd cheered, it faded into indifferent white noise. Lily looked down at her shimmering dress, the excitement she felt earlier overshadowed by the gaping chasm between her fantasy and the reality standing in front of her. "We're hosting a private dinner for some of the key sponsors later tonight," he mentioned, easing into his next topic. "I hope you can join us," but blurry tears filled her eyes. As if on instinct, she began to walk out of the room, her heart pounding in her ears, too many emotions to process. She needed air, space, somewhere that felt real. She felt her mother's eyes on her back, then the confusion and concern filled the air as her daughter left the stage of this life she couldn't yet comprehend. Just as she made it outside, the cool night air met her flushed cheeks, and herself pushed against the wall. She could hear the clinking and chatter from inside, drowning her in an unfamiliar world. But, what lay just beyond those doors? Did he really want her, or would she always be a charity case in his eyes? Staring up at the stars painted across the night sky, she felt a soft flutter of hope emerge under a blanket of fear. In the whirlwind of disappointment, did she dare hope for a connection? But, what if it was just another illusion, another figment in a fatherless reality? All of these questions raced through her mind until she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find herself face to face not with her father, but the woman who was his assistant. "Are you okay?" she asked gently, concern threading her voice. For a moment, everything hung in the balance. How could she answer that question? Would she confess the confusion tearing at her heart or pretend to be strong in this moment that drifted into chaos? As the night continued to swirl around her, one thought lingered: was she brave enough to seek the truth behind those gilded walls? Lily hesitated, the weight of the assistant's question heavy in the air. 1,000 words bubbled on her lips, but she swallowed them down. Instead, she offered a weak nod, feeling so out of place, almost like a pebble on the beach of an ocean. The woman's gaze softened, and she stepped closer. "You don't look okay, sweetie. Want to talk?" Lily looked past her, toward the door that seemed to separate her from all the glitz inside a world where people smiled wide and laughed easily, where her father was a hero. Yet, here, it felt like she was simply a shadow. "No, I just need some air." The assistant studied her for a moment before nodding. "Fair enough. But if you change your mind, I'm right here." As she walked back toward the party, Lily took a deep breath, feeling the chill against her skin. The night was calm, a stark contrast to the turmoil within her heart. She leaned against the wall, allowing her thoughts to swirl like autumn leaves in the wind. What had she expected? Maybe in the back of her mind, she had hoped for a moment, just a brief touch of connection. But now that hope felt like a cruel joke. She could still hear her father's voice echoing in her ears. Always hope. It rang hollow, it didn't fit the piece of her life that was missing. A flicker of movement caught her eye. A small group of people had exited the building, laughter spilling over the threshold. Among them was her father. The way he threw his head back with laughter made her heart plummet. It was the sound of someone unburdened, of a man with too many doors left unopened. She leaned in closer, unable to pull herself away. Her mother's gentler nature had been one thing, but this was him, the man who stood tall with his picture-perfect family. The crowd enveloped him, a barrier she could never penetrate, and in that moment, something inside her cracked open further. "Why did you leave me?" she whispered to the stars, feeling raw. The world pressed down on her, suffocating and lonely. "Hey, kid!" A voice broke through her reverie. It was a young woman from the party, dressed in a sparkling dress and a bubbly personality to match. "Aren't you going to join us? It's amazing in there. Your dad started a fundraiser for the children's shelter." "Right." Lily forced a shell of a smile, but it felt foreign on her face. The girl didn't seem to notice her reluctance. "Come on. It'll be fun." Lily hesitated, caught in a web of uncertainty. She wanted to go back, to be part of whatever they were experiencing. The question lingered: could she stomach stepping back into a world where the happiest people seemed to know nothing of abandonment? "Okay," she finally said, her voice small. As they moved toward the door, her heart raced. She felt the pulse of noise and laughter seeping through the cracks, drawing her into its orbit. What if she got lost in it? What if she found him, and it was worse than she feared? But just as her thoughts twisted with doubt, a small flicker of courage ignited. Perhaps this was her chance to see him, to confront the image of the father she had built up in her mind. As they entered, her breath caught. The atmosphere wrapped around her as if it were alive. And as she caught a glimpse of her father mingling with the crowd, she felt something shift inside her, a mix of dread and determination. Maybe tonight would bring answers. Maybe this would be the moment she would break through that wall built of uncertainty. "Wait," she said to the girl beside her, pulling her back slightly. "Can we just stand here for a moment? I need to sure." The girl replied, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in Lily's heart. But beneath the glittering chandeliers and joyous laughter, Lily knew one thing: this was only the beginning. What lay ahead was unknown, but she could feel the promise of something more unraveling before her. Her father glanced in her direction. Their eyes met for the briefest second, the universe pausing as they connected: recognition, hope, or maybe just fleeting curiosity. And in that moment, she realized whatever happened next could change everything. Could she summon the bravery to reach out beyond those gilded walls? Would she dare confront the father she always wanted? As questions whirled around her, she leaned a little closer, heart pounding as the night unfolded. The music hummed in vibrant waves around Lily, each note wrapping around her like an embrace. But all of it felt distant, strained. She stole another glance at her father. He was chatting with a few well-dressed guests, his laughter bright and carefree. It struck her how easily he had slipped into this life, while she lingered outside it, a ghost in her own reality. "Are you okay?" the bubbly girl beside her asked, a hint of concern breaking through her cheerful demeanor. "Yeah, I think I need a second," Lily replied, crossing her arms against the chill of the room. "Anxiety about meeting your dad?" the girl said, as if reading her mind. "I totally get it. Just breathe. He's probably super excited to see you." His excitement? The thought made Lily's stomach twist. Did he even know her? Did he realize how far apart they were? Before Lily could answer, the girl tugged her hand gently. "Let's just go introduce you. No pressure, I promise." Lily felt its pull, the excitement of the offer battling with her fear. "I am not sure. What if he's different?" "Different how?" The uncertainty hung in the air between them, heavy and thick. "What if I'm just a random thought to him? Something he can brush aside?" The girl frowned, a reflection of the storm raging inside Lily. "But he's your dad. Like, come on. There must be a part of him that regrets leaving." Lily cut in sharply, her voice shaking. She felt the heat rising to her cheeks, embarrassment bubbling beneath her skin. "Hey, relax," the girl said, her demeanor shifting to gentle encouragement. "You don't know how he feels unless you talk to him. Maybe he's waiting for you to make the first move." Lily's heart raced. Could it be that easy? She was standing at the edge of an uncharted sea, staring down the aloofness of years past. A voice breathed life into her thoughts, echoing from the crowd. Lily. Her father had spotted her. His smile faltered just for a second, and she caught the hint of surprise in his eyes. It was as though the noise of the party faded, and in that instant, it was just the two of them. Lily? Is that you? He called, taking a step forward. The crowd parted like waves, allowing him to approach. Her breath hitched in her throat. What now? She felt rocks in her shoes against the smooth tiles, suddenly rooted to the spot. Dad, the word stuck, caught between eagerness and uncertainty. Could she really say it out loud? Hey! I'm so glad you could make it. His arms reached out, and in that moment, the blurring colors of the party brightened into sharp focus. The world around them shrank, turning into a bubble where only they existed, father and daughter, two parts of a distant puzzle. He wrapped her in a hug that felt unfamiliar but warm. I missed you. Why didn't you come to find me sooner? She stood there, suffocated by the depth of his embrace that brought a wave of conflicting emotions crashing over her. Missed her? Had he really thought about her, or was this just a standard line he'd rehearsed? I just didn't know how, she stammered, stepping back gently to meet his gaze. The crowd resumed their chatter but faded into background noise as the weight of their moment settled around them. Her father looked her over, a hint of scrutiny in his eyes. I should tried harder. Something like hope flickered in the air. Maybe he meant it. Maybe they would finally begin to bridge the gap built by years of silence. Can we talk? Lily managed, emboldened by the glimmer of a shared desire. Of course. Let us find somewhere quiet. I'd love to catch up, he replied, his voice softer. As they began to walk, she felt a sense of possibility pulling at her heart. This could be the night everything changed. But then, just as they took a step away from the thrumming heart of the party, a realization struck her. What if reality was far more complex than the fantasy she'd painted in her mind? Lily's heart raced, echoing doubts rippling just beneath the surface, threatening to rise up and drown her hopes once again. As they moved toward the exit, a voice cut through the crowd. Wait! Someone called, the urgency capturing her attention. Lily turned back, a knot of anxiety forming in her stomach. What now? Who else would step into her world and shift the very ground she had just begun to stand on? Lily spun around, her heart thumping loudly in her chest. The sound of footsteps grew closer, tearing through her bubble of anticipation. She squinted, trying to see through the throng of partygoers. A familiar face emerged, her mother, a visage from a history she had almost forgotten. Lily. Her mother called, excitement mingled with disbelief. I thought I'd find you here. Stunned, Lily felt her breath hitch again. Can it really be her? The woman who had seemed like a distant memory, one interspersed with hints of love and layers of disappointment. Her mother's presence was unexpected, a splash of cold water that tingled against the warmth of the moment she had just begun to cherish with her father. What are you doing here? The words escaped Lily before she could compose them, a mix of surprise and confusion. Her mother stepped closer, betraying no sign of the past hurt that hung between them. I came to support your father. He wanted to introduce me to some people tonight. But I never thought. She paused, looking between Lily and her father. I never thought you would be here too. The air felt electric as the three of them stood there, a new tension permeating the moments they had just claimed for themselves. Lily's father looked caught between elation and apprehension, his smile wavering. You didn't tell me you were invited, he said, his tone softening. This is surprising. Surprising is one way to put it, Lily muttered under her breath, her heart sinking. The carefully laid plans in her mind felt like they were unraveling, thread by thread. Would this encounter spiral into a tangled mess? Her mother continued, I just wanted to see how your life is going. The sincerity in her voice was clear, yet Lily found it impossible to shake off the doubt that skulked in the corners of her heart. Why now? Lily asked, the weight of her uncertainty creeping into her words. Why show up when you haven't been around for so long? Lily's father shifted nervously between them, the air thickening. Maybe it's a chance for all of us to start over, he suggested gently, but the notion felt like a fragile promise, half-formed and precariously balanced on years of hurt. Lily clutched her arms tighter around herself, battling the whirlwind of emotions. Would forgiveness be a bright light or a painful burden they all had to bear? Look, I know it's been hard, her mother said, her voice trembling. I was young, and I made mistakes. Coming here tonight it felt like the right moment to reach out again. Right moment? Lily scoffed, the bitterness creeping in. Where were you all those years? What changed? As silence fell, Lily caught a glimpse of her father's face, a blend of guilt and yearning, his eyes darting between the two women he had woven into a narrative filled with both love and loss. The flicker of vulnerability blazed in that moment. I'm here now, aren't I? Her mother stepped forward, seemingly grasping for any semblance of connection. Let us not waste time fighting about the past. Just then, the world around them expanded again, the laughter and music swirling back into focus. The party, the guests, and all the expectations felt like an ocean tide, crashing in. Lily's heart clenched even tighter. Was she ready to unpack the years of resentment? Could she allow herself to believe in reconciliation after all the hurt? Before she could reply, her father glanced at her mother, hesitation plainly written on his face. We do owe it to her, don't we? A chance to talk. He asked, his eyes searching Lily's. Lily took a deep breath, a painful swell rising in her chest. Could the three of them really start over? Would she have to choose between them, or could they understand each other? Caught at a crossroads, emotions thrumming through her, she was struck by a sense of urgency. Can we take a breath and talk? Lily asked quietly, unsure what to expect. As the tension hung in the air, each heartbeat pushed her closer to the edge of a decision, a choice that could shape not only her heart but their future. But before she could open her mouth to continue, another voice cut through the crowd with an alarming clarity. Lily. Wait. You need to hear this. She turned, heart racing, filled with dread and curiosity. What newly uncovered truth awaited, and how would it change everything they were now trying to build? Lily turned, her stomach fluttering with uncertainty. She scanned the crowd, heart pounding as she tried to identify the source of the urgent call. The vibrant energy of the party faded away, and time seemed to stretch as the unfamiliar face approached. It was a young man, maybe in his late 20s, with short, tousled hair and an expression of desperation. Sorry to interrupt, he said, breathless, as he reached her. But my name is Noah. I'm well, it's complicated, but we need to talk. It's about your father. Lily's pulse quickened. What do you mean? What do you know about my father? The protective instincts kicked in, her gaze darting back to her parents, who clearly were caught off guard by this unexpected twist. Noah hesitated, glancing at the gathering crowd. Can we step aside for a moment? It's private. Lily felt the weight of her mother's gaze on her back, the confusion and the apprehension swirling in the air. She wanted to refuse, to stay in the bubble of family drama she was slowly trying to unravel. But the urgency in Noah's eyes coaxed a reluctant yes from her lips. All right, let us talk. They moved to a quieter corner of the bustling hall, the music and laughter muted and distant now. Lily crossed her arms, keeping her defenses up as she faced Noah. What is this about? Noah took a deep breath, steadying himself. I've been trying to find you. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I discovered some important information while trying to track down my own family. Your dad, he's not who you think he is. Her heart raced at the words. What do you mean? What do you know? There's a trust, Lily. A family trust, yours, to be precise. Your father is a billionaire. He's kept it from you all these years. The revelation struck her like lightning. Billionaire? She stared blankly at Noah, trying to process his words. What are you talking about? He stepped closer, his voice low but urgent. He's been living a double life. I have documents proving it. He's been trying to protect you, but his choices have come back to haunt him. If you want, I can show you. Panic surged through Lily, knotting her stomach. Her father had always talked about hard work, about dignity. This idea felt far removed from who she knew him to be. Why should I believe you? Noah opened his palm, revealing a small, folded document. Look, I don't mean to invade your life, but it's serious. You deserve to know the truth. This trust is yours, but there's more. There are complications. The word hung in the air, heavy, as Lily's mind raced. Would this unravel the threads of the fragile connection she was trying to cultivate with her mother and father? Would it change everything she assumed about her life? Your father's past, it's dangerous, Noah continued. And he's desperate to keep it hidden. Just then, a familiar voice pulled her back from her spiraling thoughts. Lily, everything okay? It was her mother, moving toward them with a cautious expression. She turned to face her mother, torn between the man she had known her whole life and the shocking information now hanging in the balance. Mom, Lily began, her voice trembling with uncertainty. Lily. You need to listen, Noah urged, his eyes pleading. This could change your entire life. Caught between revelations and emotions, Lily stood paralyzed. The air felt thick with unanswered questions and hidden truths. She felt the weight of those truths pressing down harder. Could she confront her father now, in the midst of everything they were trying to build? Would it even matter? As Lily looked between Noah and her mother, the clock ticked on. She had a choice to make, a decision looming over her like an impending storm. Can we talk alone? She finally managed to say to her mother, a quiet resolve forming amidst the chaos of her heart. But just as she felt the dawning of a renewed moment, the crowd around them erupted in a new burst of excitement. Lily's heart sank again, anticipation spiraling toward yet another unknown. What else would she uncover about her family, and how would it shape her journey moving forward? Lily's thoughts raced as she watched her mother's worried expression morph into confusion. The party's vibrant noise faded to a dull roar, every laugh and cheer echoing in the recesses of her mind. This moment felt like standing at a crossroads. One path led to the familiar comforts of her family, while the other opened a door to a world she never knew existed. Lily. Her mother's voice was soft but edged with a hint of urgency. What is going on? Noah stepped in, his tone measured. Ma'am, I understand this is shocking. But what I'm saying is absolutely true. Your daughter deserves to know about her inheritance, her connections. This changes everything. Changes everything. Her mother's eyes widened. What are you talking about? With a tremor in her voice, Lily looked at Noah. Can you really tell me the truth? The plea felt heavy, a bridge thrown across the chasm of the unknown. Noah nodded, urgency creeping back into his voice. This trust was set up years ago, and your father has kept it a secret to protect you. But secrets can entrap you in ways you can never anticipate. They can hide danger, too. Do you understand? Lily swallowed hard. I need to confront my dad. I have to know what is going on. No, wait, her mother interjected, alarm flickering in her eyes. Let us not jump to conclusions. How can you trust him? Because if he is telling the truth, I have a right to know. The words burst out, fueled by a tidal wave of emotions. Lily felt her heart racing as she wrestled with fear and the thrill of discovery. Mom, please. The crowd erupted again. A party favor exploded with a pop, filling the air with sparkles and colorful confetti. In a stark contrast to the chaos around them, it was as if time had frozen for Lily. The moment felt monumental. It wasn't just about uncovering secrets. It was about her connection to her father, to her identity. Noah took a small step back, letting the tension between the two women settle in the air. His presence felt like an anchor, rooting Lily as she faced the uncertainty. Her mother sighed, recognition dawning in her eyes. There was a tenderness beneath her protective nature, a remembrance of the fierce mother lion she had always been. Maybe you're right, Lily. But if this is true, we need to approach your father carefully. No, Noah cut in. If there's danger, we don't have time to wait. You deserve answers. Lily felt the weight of his words. The quest for truth was drawing her like a magnet. I can't pretend anymore, she whispered. I need to know who he really is. Suddenly, Lily's father appeared in the distance, washing through the crowd like a steady tide. He looked joyful, oblivious to the storm brewing behind his daughter's eyes. She caught herself biting her lip, uncertainty gnawing at her. Was she ready to confront him, to shake the foundations of everything she believed? As he drew closer, a cavalcade of emotions poured through her: love, confusion, fear. Could he ever be the father she had pictured in her mind if his past was that of a billionaire with shadows looming over him? Lily. He called out, his face brightening as he waved. There you are. We've been looking for you. What's got you so serious? The moment hung delicately. Every laugh, every sound in the party dulled to a background hum as she locked eyes with Noah, who silently urged her forward. Keep talking, keep listening, he mouthed. This was it. Either she would bridge the gap between their worlds, or retreat back into the shadows of ignorance. Dad, Lily started, her voice steadier than she felt. We need to talk. It's important. The anticipation swirling in the room felt electric, a moment when everything could shift, and she would finally hold the seeds of understanding in her hand. But just as she took a breath, ready to step into the unknown, a loud crash erupted nearby. Gasps filled the air, followed by a ripple of excitement and concern. Lily's heart sank. Would this derail her quest again? What had been the cause of that noise, and how would it affect the truth she was now trying to unveil? The commotion shifted like a ripple through the crowd. Lily's father turned sharply, his cheerful demeanor replaced with concern. What was that? He asked, scanning the room. Noah took a step toward the source of the noise, his eyes darting between Lily and her father. Stay here, he urged her, creating a protective barrier. Lily felt the unease settle into her bones, mixing with the urgency building inside her. She stole a glance at her mother, whose expression mirrored her own concern, twisted with the need for clarity. The loud crash had pulled the attention of everyone in the room, the laughter stifled as curious guests moved toward the chaos. Is everyone okay? Her father shouted, beginning to make his way through the crowd but hesitating as he glanced back at Lily. Dad! She called, raising her voice to cut through the noise. The urgency in her tone caught his attention. He paused, eyes wide with a mix of fatherly concern and anxiety. Now was the moment, or was it? The moment of truth felt like it could slip through her fingers at any moment. We need to talk about the trust, about everything, she blurted, her heart racing faster as her voice caught in her throat. The joy on her father's face flickered, replaced with confusion. The trust? He glanced briefly at Noah, detecting the unease lingering close to them. Later, I promise. Noah's voice trailed off, eyes still on the sourcing conflict that continued to unfold. Suddenly, a figure emerged through the crowd, breathless and wide-eyed. It was a boy, older than Lily but not by much, his face contorted with fear. I think there's a fight. Someone needs to stop it. Lily's gut churned. The chaos had already erupted, and now, it felt like everything was falling apart. Dad, can we just talk? She said, desperate now. The boy moved closer, pointing toward the doorway leading out to the patio. They're about to come through here. In one swift motion, her father took off toward the disturbance, his protective instincts kicking in. Stay back, everyone. He shouted as he pushed through the crowd, leaving Lily anchored in place, torn between fear for him and the pressing need for answers. Noah stayed beside her, ready to engage. We can't let him go alone, he urged. If this is dangerous. Lily clenched her fists, the moment stretching. She could see her father confronting the two figures now stepping through the threshold, their agitation evident as onlookers stepped back, forming a human barrier. It was a tense standoff, the kind of moment people would recount for years. "Lily, we have to move," Noah said, urgency back in his voice. "I can't leave him." She felt her heart pounding fiercely against her ribcage, the pressure of everything collapsing around her. Suddenly, her mother's hand rested firmly on her shoulder, grounding her. "We stay together," she whispered. "This isn't just about your father anymore, it's about us." Lily exchanged a glance with Noah and then her mother. There was no more time to debate. They needed answers not just about the trust but about their own safety. As shadows loomed closer, then, just as Lily summoned the courage to push forward, a heavy hand landed on her father's shoulder, and the confrontation took a startling turn. "You're going to regret this," a voice hissed, low and menacing, every heartbeat pounded a rhythm of urgency. Would they uncover the truth tonight, or would they fall victim to the darkness hiding in her father's unspoken past? Lily clenched her jaw, filled with determination. This was more than a party, it was the beginning of unraveling everything. And she was ready to step into that tangled abyss. What secrets would emerge, and what dangers awaited them beyond the door? Lily stood at the crossroads of her life, heart pounding as the chaos of the party swirled around her. The confrontation between her father and the strangers felt like a dream. Sharp glimpses of faces mixed with urgent whispers made her head spin. Her breath came in short gasps as emotion cascaded over her, a fragile thread connecting her to the possibility of understanding her father, and yet, a sense of impending danger loomed heavy in the air. "Stay close," her mother urged, gripping her hand tightly. Every moment felt charged, raw. Just as fear threatened to seep in, the memory of her mother's unwavering support anchored her. She was not alone in this turmoil. "Do you know them?" Lily asked, craning her neck to get a better view of the unfolding scene. "No, but something tells me we should be cautious," her mother replied, eyes narrowing at the commotion. Noah's gaze darted from Lily to the skirmish. "This is bad. If they're here, your father's past has finally caught up with him," he said, urgency underlining every word. Lily's pulse quickened. "We can't allow him to face this alone. He needs us." Without waiting for more, she squeezed her mother's hand to rally strength and stepped forward, determination slicing through fear. The crowd parted as they approached, drawn by the tension. Her father remained grounded, his body tense, a protective barrier shielding them. The aggressors stood on either side of him, menacing figures that radiated with unspoken threats. Their words hung palpably in the air: wealth, betrayal, and claims laced with disdain. "Let us go, Samuel. This charade has gone on long enough," one of the men spat, eyes filled with contempt. "Leave now, while you still can," her father replied, voice steady despite the trembling undercurrent. Lily's heart twisted painfully. She craved to see the father she hoped existed, the man behind the polished image, the one who had only slipped briefly into her life, a memory, a dream. But even as she stepped forward, doubt gnawed at her. "Dad!" she called, voice breaking through the murmur of the crowd. He turned, eyes wide with surprise, revealing a flicker of vulnerability she never thought she'd witness. "Stay back," he warned, but her insistent urge propelled her forward. "Let us help you," she pleaded, the emotional weight of her desire becoming palpable. She wanted connection, confirmation, finally understanding the man who stood before her. The moment cracked open like lightning in a storm. One of the aggressors smirked, looking at her as if she were a pawn in this dangerous game. "You're really willing to get involved in his mess?" he challenged. "This isn't just about him," Lily defied, her voice rising above the crowd. "It's about family. It's about truth." Her heart thundered in her chest, fueled by years of longing and pain. "Lily." Her mother reached out, but Lily felt her resolve strengthen as the truth surged within her. She could feel it, a solid force binding her to her father. "You deserve to know who you are, Dad. You can't push me away anymore." Just then, the commotion reached a boiling point. One of the men advanced, hands raised, fists clenched. In that suspended moment, time seemed to freeze. "You're nothing but a naive child. Get back." But Lily didn't budge. She stood firm, eyes locked on her father. "I want to know the truth. No more secrets." Samuel hesitated, the flicker of recognition sparking in his eyes. Slowly, he turned his back to the men, shifting his focus to her. "Lily," he said, his voice softer now, tinged with regret. "You don't fully understand what's at stake. They're dangerous. Then let us confront it together. You're my dad. I want you to be part of my life despite whatever shadows lurk behind." The atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically as murmurs erupted. Curiosity swayed through the crowd, and suddenly it felt as though they were no longer alone. They were a family, standing united against the storm of uncertainty. The aggressor's confidence faltered. "You think this is a game?" one shouted, but the fire in Lily's heart burned brighter. "Enough." Samuel's voice boomed, challenging the very essence of intimidation. He stepped forward, resolving to reclaim his narrative. "You may think you can intimidate me with threats, but I will not be afraid of you. Not anymore." Lily's heart soared at her father's newfound strength. This was the man she wished he'd been all along. A flicker of hope ignited as she realized that perhaps this was not only her fight but his too. As tension crackled like electricity, the aggressors shared a look before one spoke, voice dripping with disdain. "Fine. But know this, Samuel, we're not done here." With that, they retreated, leaving a whirlwind of uncertainty simmering behind. As the crowd began to disperse, Lily felt the weight of the world lift just slightly. She turned to her father, searching for solace, for clarity. "What happened?" Samuel took a deep breath, vulnerability creeping back into his expression. "I will explain everything, Lily. Can we sit down somewhere quiet?" "Yes, please," she replied, urgency coursing through her veins. "We need to talk about the trust. We need to talk about everything." Her mother moved beside them, holding her daughter's hand tightly. In that moment, the wave of family wrapped around them, a protective embrace that transcended the chaos of the night. Together, they moved away from the crowd toward a corner where fear could no longer find them, but hope could thrive. As they found a small table hidden from the party's hustle, the clock struck the beginning of June, marking the moment when lives not only converged but began anew. This was the night they would unravel their story, bridging the gaps of silence and secrets, each word a step weaving them closer together. "No more shadows," Lily declared as they sat. "Let us build a new beginning." With that, they poured their hearts out, words tethered together by the emotional journey that had shaped them. Hope began to bloom, and the light of understanding cast away the shadows of yesterday, each moment a reflection of love, raw, honest, and beautifully imperfect. And so, amid the remnants of that chaotic night, Lily felt a warmth inside her heart, a stirring of possibilities. No longer just a girl with a fragmented past, she was emerging as a brave force, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. A daughter, a catalyst for change, and, finally, a family. As dawn approached, they began to shape their new story, hand in hand, ready to face the world together, fortified by their shared truth. Now, dear friends, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories that await you. Leave a like right now to fuel the algorithm and make a difference. Don't let your reactions fade away. Comment below with your feelings about this emotionally charged ending. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Join the journey. Your support changes everything.